This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just stop. This is a sham. Welcome to DBL. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yes. Hey. I'm sorry, this is my first time seeing the mustache, so I have to acknowledge that. That is a good stash. Nice job.
It's coming in nice. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how long it's going to last.
I think it's starting. Like you got to decide.
I think I have.
You can do the handlebar.
Get used to it now.
No, you know, I look up at. I'm like, who is that guy, dude?
Yeah,
I don't understand you men and your facial hair.
It's fun. It's fun.
My husband will leave the house looking one way and come back home like a totally different person. What happened?
You know.
I don't get it.
I don't know what's happening. I'm just like messing around a little bit. Change it up. Maybe next week I grow some pork chops. Who knows? All right. Let's get to it. Things did not go according to plan on last night's episode of The Bachelorette. As we mentioned, on this season, there are two women who are dating the same group of men. What could go wrong? Am I right? Well, Gabby found out the hard way when multiple men told her they were more interested in the other Bachelorette, Rachel. Let's watch.
You know, I just felt like a really good connection with Rachel, like amazing one.
You know, I do have my intentions fully for Rachel. A little bit more like, I would say rough around the edges, but.
Say if you were the only person here, I don't think I could have the heart to continue.
So at the end of the episode, it was Rachel's turn. Her rose was rejected by 3 different guys who wanted to date Gabby instead. And I watched a clip of this before I left this morning because I was trying to get I was like, so what's happening here? One of the guys' names was Meatball. Okay. And he shut down the rose.
Okay.
If you're getting
she better not have cried over Meatball.
That's the one you cry over. Because
if you get rejected by Meatball, it hurts.
I think the most awkward part is just like the nod and smile as they tell you, yeah, I'm not that into you. You're like, mm-hmm.
You have to. That was the hardest part for me. And I think you saw my face when you were watching the clip. It's just like, because you know, Lindsay, think about if that was you. Your family's gathered around the TV. Your mom told everybody, my daughter's on The Bachelorette, and then you're just nodding and smiling as you're getting rejected by Meatball. That's a rough one.
No problem.
I don't see, maybe I'm thinking about this too, like, logically, but the chances of you actually, your soulmate, being in a cast of 30 men that happen to be available for that month to be on a show with you are pretty slim. So I can't see myself actually shedding a tear over some guy who I met 5 minutes ago being like, I'm not really into you. Like, this is a numbers game, and the numbers are low. I mean, look at how many people actually have successful relationships after the show. So I don't see it being that big of a deal. Now, when you out in the wild, in the real world, and you get rejected and it comes out of nowhere, like shortly after my separation, there was a guy that I was casually seeing, and it taught me a lot about what had happened in the world in the 10 years I had not been in the market.
Out the game.
It was a lot more casual than I was used to. And he said, he wasn't like mean about it or anything, and I wasn't like distraught, but it was like, oh, okay, so like we could go out and then like never talk again.
Yeah, but
okay.
I'm the opposite. I'd rather get rejected in real life at a bar. Be like, what's up? And then you just spin your chair. I'm like, what's up to someone else? You know, if you're on TV, that's forever. That's embarrassing. Your family's seeing that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's rough for those women. I'm sure they'll find their way, but that
I don't like the whole idea of 2 bachelorettes either. I haven't really followed the show closely, but it is a weird concept that we're gonna pick between 2 people. I mean,
listen, I think that show's hanging around by a thread, but it's still got some audience left, so people still love it.
And it's a wrinkle that got people talking. So,
yeah,
I mean, it seems to be working.
We're talking about it. You know what else people are talking about? Kevin Hart, because he recently gave Chris Rock an unusual gift at the end of their show with Dave Chappelle. Kevin brought a goat on stage and gave it to Chris because he considered him the GOAT, which stands for greatest of all time. But later on The Tonight Show, Kevin said the GOAT left a little something behind. I think I know where this is going.
I said the GOAT's gonna come out, do a tight 2 minutes, right? But instead he on Chris's shoes. He destroyed Chris's shoes. Chris had on some white moon boots, and that goat got him.
So apparently Chris Rock is like, what are we gonna name this goat? And Dave Chappelle said, well, we should name him Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I'm just reading the story.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the story.
And like, of course, like comedians don't fight with their fists.
Come on, we gotta move on from the Will Smith thing. Okay,
Move on.
Yes, it happened. Like
in front of the world.
I know, but they're not gonna be friends. Jada talked about it. It is what it is. I'm sorry for that man. Everybody's sorry for him. Like it is what it is.
He has to, Lindsay. You have to give him at least one special where he takes 5-10 minutes and walk, because that's what everybody.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't think we can move forward until like we at least hear from his side what it was. If he makes it funny, if he kind of makes it a little bit serious, like sometimes Chappelle does. But I'm curious to understand the dynamic that led to. I mean, if that happened just at like we always say, at just a wedding, you wouldn't be like, let's move on. You'd be like, we got to talk.
For sure, but I mean, he is probably doubled his profits. You saw he added second shows to cities that he didn't have them in prior to that. Like, I don't think Chris Rock is losing any sleep. I actually think he's choosing, like, I'm not talking about this unless I get the dollar amount that I'm looking for at this point. So, like, he just laughing to the bank.
Yep.
And we're all, like, still sad about it. It doesn't seem like he is. He is being coined the greatest of all time on stage with two of the greatest of all time.
Well, I think it's important to note also, like, Al's perspective is going to be a lot different from ours, being a career-long comedian.
Right.
So I'm curious if you feel like, because I do agree that we want to hear from Chris Rock.
Right.
I think it's important that we hear from him in the way that he sees fit. But do you think that he's taking too long? Because the news cycles have gone and there's been new villains and new victims, and we'll forget. So it's like, is there a time limit for when something like this can be talked about?
It's a weird thing, because is there a time limit for, like, I don't know about you, like when you got divorced the first time, when you were ready to talk about it, when, you know, my son was diagnosed with autism, when I was ready to talk about it, you know, and then now I talk about my son having autism on the comedy stage.
Right.
You know, and it took a while to get there when there's not, I don't call it trauma. In this case with Chris Rock, it was trauma, physical and mental. You know, it takes a while to like process that yourself, and it's like, now I can make it funny. Because, you know, like, God forbid, we've all lost friends. When you lose a friend, you're in the limo, you're crying, you're having a rough day, but then somebody cracks that first joke. And it takes a while, but that's when you start to really heal from it. So I feel like once we get that first set with that bit that he does, and we all watch it on HBO or Netflix, we'll also be able to begin to heal, because I don't think anybody liked that. I don't think anybody took any pleasure in seeing people assault each other on the biggest night of their lives.
Some people did.
Yes, but like for the most part, yeah.
But also, Al, I think, you know, what you do is so genius, and I love comedy because it looks like you guys are going up there and you found a microphone and you're just talking. But reality is you take 6 months to a year to perfect that bit. So he might still be working on that bit. Am I wrong?
It takes about, I mean, some people, I know Carlin famously about every 2 years. Chris Rock does a special every 2.5 years. It takes a while to go through, and you have to go through every city, because you know what? People in New York are going to laugh at your subway jokes, but people in Des Moines, Iowa aren't. So you got to figure out where everybody's laughing, where you're getting gaps in your set, where people kind of falling asleep here. And as you do that, it takes a little while. The world keeps going, and after a while, you kind of present your material, and then you start all over again. It's almost like a chef. So it takes a while to get the ingredients and then cook them and then present them.
And I agree that the news cycle does move on, but with this story, I do think if Chris Rock talks about it in 2 years, we're all going to be like, what? So I think it is one of those stories that's like breaks all barriers that came before.
To talk about the elevator
I'm still all ears. I'm all ears.
Exactly. How long ago was that?
That was about 5-10 years ago.
And that's we're leading with that. All right, coming up on DBL, our interview with Sports Illustrated model Hunter McGrady. She tells us what was modeling like after pregnancy. And Lizzo is claiming traditional relationships aren't for her. We're chatting about it coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by...
Do you think you have what it takes to make like it never even happened happen? Like this? Like that? Woo! Then you belong at the #1 brand in property restoration. Join ServPro and experience great pay, career advancement from entry level to management, and even ownership. Here you go, boss. And access to the best training available. Oh, I'm sorry. Got what it takes? Visit servpro.com/careers and apply today.
Welcome back. So it looks like Lizzo isn't into the tradish relationships. Did you like that spin? During an appearance on The Breakfast Club, Lizzo spilled some tea on her new man, Mike Wright, and said they're in an open relationship. Let's take a look.
Monogamy, I think, to me, is a little claustrophobic. I think because there's the rules. I think a love relationship that's not monogamous has no rules. And I think people who do poly and all that stuff, there's still rules. It's like, well, you can see this person, but you can't see this person. I don't want any rules.
Oh, man, tabloids are waiting for them to break up so they can be like, Mike, wrong.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. They're just looking at it. But what do we think about the tradish relationships? Are they kind of going away? Or you got? I still feel strongly about like kind of the old school mentality of things. That's where I stand with all this.
I feel like in theory, like, yes, you want to let somebody love freely and know they'll do the right thing by you. But like in practice, like, Colin, my partner, there's some boundaries. And so if I set the tone early on, we both know what we do expect from each other, what we don't, and that way we can communicate well and just have a healthy relationship according to our standards. Just like everybody does whatever they want. Like Colin might have just liked to drink 3 nights a week, 5 nights a week, but that's not something that I like to do. So like if we don't set the tone that won't work, then, you know, he'll continue to live like he was single. So I just think that's like, you know, something that people don't know unless you tell them how to treat you. You got to teach people how to treat you.
I thought it was just strange that she said I want to be in a poly relationship with no rules, because I listen to like a lot of sex positive podcasts that talk about different kinds of lifestyles that are considered alternative, but there seems to be a lot of people living like that. And what I hear from everybody is that there are rules, just like you're talking about, Lindsay. You can, because if we're partnered and there's a situation where you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna date anybody, I'm gonna bring anybody I want into my life. Well, you're bringing them into my life as well. So there have to be rules about, like, we don't hang out with people at the house. We don't exchange numbers. We don't see people for a second time. We don't see people out in public and acknowledge. Whatever your rules are, those are your rules, but you have to have boundaries. Otherwise, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah, that's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
That's too much to think about. Like, how do you do that and then, like, I don't know, have a job? I think when my husband and I first got together, it wasn't like we were dating for marriage. Like, we literally were like, hey, love hanging out with you, love spending time with you. Let's just be like super casual about this. And what happened is what generally happens is you can go in with the best intentions of being great friends and companions and confidants. But when you get together and you start to, like, your life starts to merge together, a lot of feelings get involved. And it went from like, oh, this is casual and, you know, we're just going to support each other, to like, oh no, I want to marry you. You know, like, you know, it became very clear that it wasn't going to just be like that. And that took, like, I mean, really probably about 5-6 months before we were like, well, maybe we need to reevaluate this relationship. But I think that's what happens. No one really accounts for the heart, you know, like what can happen when you're really forming an intimate relationship with someone.
We see a lot of cheating, though. So it seems like,
and I think casual.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that sometimes you're in situations that people aren't prepared in that way to do that. And one of us could have not been prepared in that way.
I think claiming that you want this casual and you want this to be polyamorous are two different, like, statements that you're making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on what your definition of casual is. You know, like, are you dating? Like, at one point, very early in our relationship, he went out with someone, and I went out with someone. Like, it wasn't really a relationship. We were just...
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be, if someone approached me with that, like, hey, let's just keep it casual, but cool, let's just do whatever. And then, hey, we want to keep it polyamorous. I feel like I need a hat or something. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Like a T-shirt. Keep it polyamorous.
Yeah,
I'm imagining somebody approaching you with the first one and then the second one.
Coming up on DBL, Sports Illustrated model Hunter McGrady stopped by why she almost gave up on her modeling dreams. Next.
Suffer from pain? You're not alone. Omega XL can help. For years, Robin lived with severe pain in her ankles, knees, and back.
I had so much pain in my knees that stooping was not one of the things that I could do anymore. I just thought it was age because I've gotten older.
Then she found Omega XL, a powerful natural supplement. 30 years of research show it relieves joint and muscle pain caused by inflammation. It's small, easy to swallow with no fishy aftertaste. Omega XL, a unique extract from the green lip mussels of New Zealand.
The moment I started using Omega XL, there was such a change and such a difference. I didn't realize that it was happening until I was squatting down, till I was running up and down the stairs. It has revived me.
Why struggle with pain in your back, neck, knees, or elbows? Turn to the powerful solution that millions have trusted to relieve their pain and get their life back. Omega XL, the one-of-a-kind natural supplement that helps reduce joint pain due to inflammation. Join the many Omega XL success stories.
I found this product, and it's called Omega XL. I mean, I can't tell you how great I feel. I mean, this works.
Because I'm taking Omega XL, it allows me to live life to the fullest.
Omega XL has given me my life back. Omega XL works.
I want anybody who's having pain in their knees, their back, your joints, try it. I'm telling you about it. I'm telling you about something that's gonna change your life if you'll try it.
Call now or go to OmegaXL.com/Robin. And when you buy one bottle of Omega XL, get another absolutely free. That's 2 bottles for only $39.95. Order right now and we'll also include a bottle of Vitamin XL D3 for whole body health absolutely free on your first order. We're so confident in the effectiveness of Omega XL that we back it up with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Order now and get 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3 for only $39.95. Act now.
Welcome back. Earlier, we sat down with model Hunter McGrady, who has been an activist for curvy women and real bodies since Sports Illustrated launched her career in 2017. Since then, she's become a mother, fashion designer, and podcaster. Check it out.
Hi, you guys.
Hey,
oh my gosh, it's so funny to see me in studio.
Yes, you're here.
You look terrific. So Hunter, this year marks your 5th year in Sports Illustrated Swim, which is crazy. Congratulations. How was this shoot different for you than past years?
Oh my gosh, well, this was quite a bit different, mainly because I was just shy of 6 months postpartum.
Wow.
I had just had my first baby, and I got asked to do the issue by MJ, who is the editor-in-chief of the Swim issue. She had texted me, she was like, listen, say no. I know you're in the throes of being a first-time mom. You have a newborn, but we would love you to kind of, be in the issue and represent, moms everywhere. And I was like, say no more. I'm there. This is what I'm all about. And it was incredible.
That picture is very cute too, by the way.
Oh my God, amazing. And I love that because that's always the conversation, not always the conversation, but a lot of women feel, some level of fear getting back into a swimsuit after having a baby. So I love that you're talking about it. But let's talk about body image because it's something everyone deals with in some way, one way or another. Were you ever told that maybe modeling wasn't in the cards for you? How were those conversations?
Oh my gosh. Completely. So I come from a background of entertainers. My mom was a model. My dad's still currently an actor. So I grew up knowing I wanted to model. And when I first started out in this business, I was about a size 2. And I was always told by every agency, anytime I showed up on set, unfortunately, you're great, but you have to lose weight. You have to lose weight. You have to lose weight. And I was 114 pounds. I'm 6 feet tall. So it looks very different than the way I look now. Yeah. And I just thought, well, I literally can't lose any more weight. I was already in such a awful mental health space. I was dieting at just, 15, 16 years old. I was working out like crazy. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to hang it up then. And about 5 years later, I learned about plus size modeling and I gave it a go. And right away I started working. It was kind of like confirmation that I was exactly where I needed to be all along.
Oh, I love that. And speaking of plus size modeling, a former America's Next Top Model contestant claimed she was called plus sized by the judges when she was just a size 2. So I know there's a lot to unpack there, but what is the term that you would prefer? And is there ever a time where that could be seen as insulting?
It's funny, when I first started out in this business, I was like, don't call me plus size, don't label me. But then as I started saying that on talk shows and on interviews, so many women messaged me and they were like, wait, girl, first off, this is the reason you're in this spot and you should be proud of it. And I really had to hone in. They're absolutely right. And I am dang proud of it. I am plus size and there's nothing to be ashamed of. along with that title. And it's funny that I know that she had tweeted that because, again, going back to my story, at a size 2, I was told to lose weight as well. And here in New York City, if you're a size 6, that's where our plus size boards, as far as modeling agencies, start at. Which is crazy.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, that kind of leads to my question. I want to know, like, if you could tell everybody one thing, what is everybody, the general public, getting wrong about plus-size women?
I think a lot of people, we've been so conditioned to automatically equate weight to health. And yes, there's a lot of times where those two things correlate, but not always. And I think a lot of times people comment on my posts being like, oh, you're promoting obesity and this is a health risk, health problem. But my medical records say otherwise. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing is I've been also, again, a size 2 where I was the most unhealthy. I mean, I bruised like a peach. I was always tired. I had dark circles under my eyes. So really, that is such a stigma that I wish would just change completely.
Well, you're helping break that stigma. We're so proud of you. Thank you so much for joining us, Hunter.
Congrats on year 5.
All the work you're doing. Exactly. Congratulations. DBL Nation, make sure you listen to Hunter and her sister's podcast, The Model Citizen, and check out Hunter's clothing collection, All Worthy, which is launching Intimates on QVC August 6th. That's a lucky day. That's my birthday. We'll be right back. Congratulations.
Happy birthday. Thank you so much. Bye, you guys.
Bye. Awesome. Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
So, who here struggles with clogged gutters? Let's take a look at some damage caused by clogged gutters.
Clogged gutters did all that?
Absolutely.
That looks like our house.
Who climbs ladders to clean their gutters?
Dad, I keep telling you it's dangerous.
Climbing ladders is too dangerous. Once our ladders go up, you can put yours down forever.
So how does it work?
Leaf Filter's 3-piece system filters out leaves and debris, letting water flow through freely.
Do we need to replace our gutters?
Great question. Actually, Leaf Filter could be installed right on top of your existing gutters.
That will save a lot of money.
Do I have to pay for an estimate?
No, it's free. And you'll get a free gutter inspection too.
We're sold.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
When the temperatures start creeping, heat safety can be a major concern for families. Here are some tips on what to do when a heat wave hits, sponsored by Sunsetter. First, staying hydrated is important when enjoying life outside, but you should really try to stay inside between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. because that's when temperatures are the highest. But if you're going to go outside, wear light, loose, breathable clothing that will help you stay cool. And if you plan on working out, let someone know and be sure to stay in the shade. With affordable custom features without the custom price, Sunsetter is America's #1 best-selling awning. Spend more time outside and get the best value with Sunsetter. It's been an industry leader for 30 years. Call 1-800-513-6851 or visit sunsetter.com for guaranteed pricing on American-made awnings built to last. And quickly, before we go, some sad news. Actor Tony Dow has passed away at the age of 77. We all knew him as Wally Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver. Tony also directed episodes of TV like Coach and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We wish the best to him and his family.
What a great career.
We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place.